Hey, welcome to another episode of Your Faith and Health Community. I'm your host, Pastor Jackie Jackson, and as always, on behalf of myself and the producer, Anita Alexander, we want to thank you for taking out time from your day to spend with us. We hope that we give you some information that will definitely improve your quality of life. Now, before we jump into the show, because we have a very special guest, I'm going to say it, you probably already said it, healthcare. Have you got enrolled in health insurance? In other words, do you have Medicaid or do you have marketplace insurance? Medicaid, year-round, open enrollment, never closes if you are single with an income of $16,223 or less. That makes you eligible. Well, actually not just eligible. That means that you have to apply for Medicaid because you're not eligible for the marketplace. Now, if you're a family of four with an income of $44,500 or less, that makes your family, your whole family, Medicaid eligible. Now, if you don't follow those guidelines, and you can go online and see what those guidelines are, you are looking at going to the marketplace. That's to www.healthcare.gov, where you will go in, pick your own insurance that's going to work for you. Some have dental, some don't. Some have vision, some don't. But you can go in and you can look. It's important that you do it. Now, you're used to me talking about healthcare for a while, and you're probably going, please keep going, but I'm going to cut you off right here. I'm done with the healthcare because I want to get to our guest, Mr. Deron Hunter, actually Deacon Deron Hunter. And Deron has an organization called Future Ambassadors, Inc., and he does a lot of awesome work with the young people in the communities, and especially a lot of the young people that go to Euler, that's Euler Elementary, which is down in Lower Price Hill, where he mentors, where he takes them on college tour visits, as well as other kids from different parts of the city. But I know that he has a strong passion for Euler. So let's just jump right into this. Deron, I want to thank you, first of all, for taking out time to come out and talk with us.
I want to give honor to God for allowing me to be here in this opportunity, and I appreciate the invite. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome, awesome. And also because we're wearing our shirts, so we work together through the City of Cincinnati Department of Human Relations, Community Outreach Advocates. And so even though you have this organization that you formed, you also will combine things with the outreach team along with your organization to give the kids a whole, just a whole array of opportunities and things to get involved with. So why don't you tell us about Future Ambassadors and exactly what that is?
Well, the main job that we focus on, number one, I want to be a community outreach advocate. It all ties in, which is one reason I started my Future Ambassadors program, because I saw a need that a lot of the violence and a lot of the things that we were seeing in the streets were our young people killing each other. So I have a real passion for our young people to try to do something positive with their lives. So out of that birthed the Future Ambassadors, where I decided that I would take middle-aged kids, middle school age kids, and try to get them to try to do things in a more positive manner rather than being out on the street, standing on the corner, looking for things that get them in trouble. Trouble is easy to get into, but it's really, really hard to get out of, and we both know that from firsthand experience. So what I wanted to do was try to put them in an environment that was very conducive to the things that would get them to think about, okay, what is it that I really, really want to do with my life? Because sometimes you may get one shot, sometimes you may get two, and every now and then you may get three. But we can't lean and depend on that. And that's why I tell them, when you choose to do anything, always start out with plan A, but always have a plan B. So Future Ambassadors itself, the first thing I wanted to do was try to get people involved that were passionate about what I'm doing, as I was. People that wanted to see our young people go on college tours, just get out of the community and let them know that this is just a small piece of your life right here. This is just a small piece. The world is much bigger than where you live. So a lot of young kids, when we first took our first trip, we went over the bridge to Kentucky, headed to Morehead State University, and they didn't know where we were. And for somebody that might say, wow, that's unbelievable, well, yeah, it is if you've been there before. But we have kids that have not been out of our city. You know, so for me, that was very exciting to see them being excited about what we were about to do.
So let me ask this, because there are a number of organizations around that deal with youth, rather at-risk youth, which sometimes you get organizations that want to focus more on at-risk. Sometimes you get the organization that kind of want to stay away from at-risk. But what about future ambassadors that separates it? And I know, because I've had an opportunity to be around you and to go on these trips and to watch the kids and the interaction and to see the life-changing that you are being able to help institute in these young people. But what is it about Future Ambassadors, Inc. that makes it different than some of the other organizations?
The first thing I would say is that my whole focus is to make sure that our young men realize that they're special, that they are somebody, and they can be somebody. It's a mindset. We got to change the way our young people think. I've had kids tell me, Mr. Hunter, I'm not going to live to be past 18 years old. Well, we can't have that conversation. You can't have that conversation with me, because in reality that might be true, or you may be thinking, but in reality it's not true, because so a man thinketh, so is he. So if we can change the thought process of our young men and let them know, hey man, you can do anything you want to do. First of all, you got to give it a shot. You can't say what you can't do before you even give it a try. Even when I first step in a classroom, the first thing I'll tell them is, look, don't be so negative about what you don't know about. Let me explain why I'm here, and then you make a judgment on whether you want to come back or whether you want to be here, whether this is for you or whether it's not. But at least give it a shot. When we go on these college tours, the first thing I see, we went to Ohio State a few weeks ago. That's a very, very, very big campus. Over 100,000 people were there. So we have kids whose eyes were bigger than the moon. Okay, now and then we'll take another trip to a smaller college like Morehead State University, which is where I graduated from. You know, when I had an opportunity to do my college visits, when I went to those big schools like Indiana University, University of Michigan, and different schools like that, I found out that was too big for me at that time. But when I visited Morehead, schools like Morehead, Eastern Kentucky, Western Kentucky, and I said, this is something that I might be interested in right here. So I narrowed it down to my last two schools, which was Morehead and Eastern Kentucky, and I finally chose Morehead. I want our kids to understand you have a choice, especially if you do the right things. First, you're a student. In front of that word athlete, there's the word student. And sometimes we miss that. And I told our kids, when you walk in the classroom, I want my teachers to love me, not just like me. I want them to love me. But it's all about how I carry myself as a young person, whether they're going to like me or love me or help me. A lot of times when people see you trying to help yourself, they'll dive right in to try to help you too. And I'm one of those people, if I see you really wanting to do some things, and what I do about these trips also let me say this. I want to make sure all the trips are free. Everything or every trip that we've ever taken, our kids have not had to go in their pockets to pay for anything. That's food, that's the bus ride, that's movies, that's when we go out to eat. They don't have to pay for anything. T-shirts, sweatshirts, whatever it is that we do. I want to make sure that they don't have to worry about having no money in their pocket, you know, and not being able to go because of money. I'm trying to eliminate all of that. So I have a lot of people that really support what I'm doing, and they've been able to give me donations that I'm able to take these kids on these nice outings. And for that sake, and they are able to say, you know what, Mr. Hunter, I appreciate being able to get out of my community. And then when they leave me, I want to make sure that they're thinking. I want to leave them, you know, thinking, say, man, I can do that, and you can.
And you mentioned Ohio State, and you gave us a picture, which is great, so I want to put this up. And just tell us about this particular shot, because this is at the stadium here. And I don't know if you can see, but you see the big O in the middle. Yeah. So tell us about this picture here.
You know, that was actually a great shot. We had great seats when we went to. We had an end zone shot. And the guy that took the picture, I mean, it was a beautiful beautiful shot that he took of the stadium, of the field, and he got a couple of our kids in that shot too. And what was so unique about that day also is that they were celebrating 50 years of their band. And even that, to me, was very exciting because they had over, it was so many members of their former band members that came back to be a part of this activity that they had. And they all came out in red uniforms. I mean, blended right in with the stadium, with the field, with the turf. And I mean, it was just a beautiful sight. And what I really liked about it is when we got there and we were walking to the field, the kids got to go through this tunnel, which leads you right to the field. And that made you feel like, man, I am a part of Ohio State football. And that was exciting for me, even though I'm a Morehead State grad. That was very exciting for me. So that alone just brought you into the atmosphere of what it's like to be a part of Ohio State football.
The young people, when they arrived at Big O and at Ohio State, how were they to get off the bus? You know, probably some have watched the games, right, on television or maybe have some apparel or seen it, but to actually be there, to get off that bus, see all of these people, and then to walk in that stadium, filled to the brim, how were they? What were their reactions like?
The kids were awesome. And the first thing I did to lead up to your point is we have what we call peer group sessions where we talk about staying in school, staying off drugs, making good grades. You have to earn these field trips. They don't just happen. You have to earn these field trips. You have to show me that I can take you somewhere and you know how to conduct yourself like a young man. So I asked them a question. I said, if we had an opportunity to go to an Ohio State football game, how many of you guys would be interested? Every hand in the room went up. And then there was 3 young men that said that they were interested in going to school at Ohio State.
Okay.
You know, and that was so beautiful. And then I said, okay, now that I've got that off or got that by you, I've asked that question. Guess what, guys? We're going to Ohio State. And they couldn't believe it. You know, eyes got big as moons. And so when we got there and we saw all of the people, we just outside of the stadium. And then when they started getting off the bus and realized that this is a reality, like we're really, really here. We're getting ready to be on this campus. And so we got off the bus and started walking toward the stadium. It's huge. Oh my God, the stadium is huge. And the kids' eyes were just wide open. And I mean, they were just energized. And when we got inside of the stadium, it was beautiful. And when we seen the Ohio State Buckeyes run out of the tunnel, and it was like, oh man, we are really here on this campus, in this stadium, places that I've seen, that I've read about, now we're here. And for me, the excitement of just them being there and smiling, that makes my day. When I see them smiling, that makes me smile.
Which brings me to a question that I want to ask you. Why do you do this? Because again, we work together.
Yes.
So I know you're not making money doing this. You know what I'm saying? This isn't a career move. So what is it about young people that touched you, that made you say, I need to do something more than go, there needs to be something for these young people, and made you say, I need to create something for them?
First and foremost, I want them to believe that they can. You got to believe it. And sometimes our kids, they have to see it in order to believe it. See, we walk by faith and not by sight, but our kids don't see it that way. They got to be able to see it. And I always say, if you can see it, you can achieve it. So my main goal was to say, if I could put them on a college campus, just put their feet on a college campus. And I've watched them in the stands, sitting up in the stands, and they say, I can do this. And you give them the Big Ten, you give them the MAC, and then you give them the OVC or independent college. You got this one, it's real huge, and then you got a smaller college. Big colleges are not for everybody. They're not. It wasn't for me. So once they realize that, man, I can do this, then when we put them on campus, they realize, okay, I'm on the campus now. How can I get back here? And I said, I'm going to tell you exactly how you get back here. First of all, student, athlete, you got to do your job in the classroom. I push that hard. If we pushed our kids as hard in the classroom as we do on the football field, the basketball court, or the baseball diamond, we'd have some geniuses. And all of our kids are brilliant. But somebody got to keep telling them how brilliant they are in the classroom. Amen. There's nobody no smarter than you are. It's about how hard you want to work. Sometimes it's the one that works the hardest, not the one that has the most talent.
So that's that. So now I wondered, and I don't think I've asked you before, what makes you do this? And I've seen the passion. I've seen you work with the children. You mentioned your school. What is this picture right here? Where is that at?
That picture there is an awesome picture. We were down to Moorhead doing a college tour. Mm-hmm. And actually, I had the opportunity to play football with a guy by the name of Phil Simms. And Phil played 14 years with the New York Giants after he left Moorhead. And so that was a locker room that he donated money enough for Moorhead to build a brand new locker room. And I wanted the kids to be able to see that and be a part of being in that locker room. And I asked him, I said, if you don't know who he is, just go Google him up, Google his name, and see the things that he did. He was a 2-time Super Bowl winner, But with all of that said, I just wanted them to know that, hey, man, all of this is possible. I come from a little town outside of Cincinnati called Lincoln Heights. I never thought I would be a person that would be back on this college campus. I'm on Moorhead's diversity board. I went from being a student to being on Moorhead's diversity, only African-American male on Moorhead's diversity board. And I feel good about that. I feel good that they asked me to even be a part of that. So I want our kids, not only did I go to school here, they recognize the things that I've been able to do since I've been away from that school, and they've invited me back.
Right, which we're going to get to.
Yes, sir.
Well, they've invited you back a few times, but we're going to get to talking about something that's coming up real soon. But before we jump on that, I just want to know, so when you look at the community outreach advocates and then the work that you do with the future ambassadors, and sometimes, in all honesty, when I look, it's almost like you can't tell where one ends and the other begins because they overlap. And I know your passion, even with the outreach advocates, it's the youth. Yeah. And you take kids to the police academy. Talk about the police academy with these young people.
I tell you what prompted me to even want to go and take the kids. I remember when I first started this job, we had to go to the police academy ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so what I learned that day was the day in the life of a police officer. And I was very impressed about what I've seen and what I saw and the things that they were doing, And I was like, wow, that's pretty positive, and that's pretty powerful too. And to be put in those scenarios that a policeman was put in, and you have to make a snap decision and realize that it could cost me my life or my partner's life or somebody in the community's life. And so again, before I talked about our young people, especially our young men are dying so young, they're shooting each other, they're killing each other. And it's like we've gotten immune to that. I don't want our young men to get immune to that. I don't want them to think that that's normal because it's not. I want you to understand that you being 12 years old, being 14, all you're supposed to do is be able to go to school, have a good time, and enjoy what it is your peers around you. That's what you're supposed to be doing at 12. Playing ball, doing your homework, not chasing girls, playing ball, doing your homework. And so I thought about it. I said, you know what? What would be nice if we could take our young people to the police academy and let them see the same things we saw. And I guarantee you it would change some of the thought pattern. It might not change everything, but it would change some of the thought pattern of our young men on how they see policemen. All policemen are not bad. All policemen are not good. But you can put that in any profession you want.
Or just in humans, period.
Period. You can bank that.
So I've watched the kids a couple of times that I've been there with you when you've done that. And to hear the questions.
Yes.
And also the revelation of things that they may have seen on television or heard that may have not been true, right? So now you're getting it from the source and not just getting it, but they're showing you things. Remember they took them in and showed them the situation where the officer may have to go in with his weapon and how like you said, that quick split second thing can happen. But watching them, getting an opportunity, and especially for some kids in the inner city, to get the opportunity to have a conversation with a police officer that doesn't involve somebody being arrested or seeing a chase, but just to have a not necessarily one-on-one, but a straightforward conversation with police officers is really good for our children to get the opportunity, and seeing that is great. I know we're getting close to time, so I want to make sure that I hit this question, or you mentioned Morehead State University where you went to school.
Yes, sir.
And I have a picture that I need to make sure I give Anita so they could show back in the day when it talks about you, because you went to Princeton.
Yes, sir.
Right? And
yes,
what did
sir.
you have, what was it, 20 yards or something you
At Princeton, the only record I have left at Princeton, I had 5 touchdowns in one game. The 1,000 yards was at Morehead.
That was at more, but how many yards did you get that year?
1,001.
And what were you?
I was a running back.
A running back.
Yes, sir.
1,001 yards.
Yes, sir. Yes,
for in one single season.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
so there's something coming up in the next few weeks down at Morehead.
Yes, sir.
That's the homecoming.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes,
But it's something special going on at homecoming. And I know you don't like to talk about yourself, but we're going to talk about yourself. Okay, so we got homecoming.
Yes, sir.
That's going to be October 20th. But they're doing something with you down there that day. What are they doing that day?
Yes, sir. I got a phone call about 3 months ago, and one of the people from Morehead called, and she said, "Deron, we just came up with a new award that we want to, present to 2 people." They said this is the first time we've ever given it, and it's called the Most Notable Alumni 2018. And they said you were the first person that we thought about for this award. And they said, we've been watching the work that you've done in your community, in the streets with the young people. I've been taking kids to Morehead for 15 years. And so they say, we've been watching all the things that you've done with these young people. And they said, this award, you and a lady by the name of Denise Taylor will be the first recipients of this award. And for the first time, we were talking on the phone, and I was just speechless. And she said, "Oh, Deron, I've never heard you speechless before." And I thought that was really funny. And I told her, I said, "I'm honored, I'm humbled, I appreciate it." I said, "But all I want our young people to know is that you can achieve this. This is not," I feel like by me taking them down to the school and the school seeing the passion and the love that I have for these young people, that was all a part of this award, because I want them to be, and I told them, I want my kids to be a part of this award. When I receive it, I'm gonna make sure I mention them, because without them, there would be no me. I really love what I do. I really love the things that God has allowed me to do, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be in this position. And I thank God that I'm able to take these young people and show them all the things that they've dreamed about. It's just an arm length away. It's about how you think about it, how you prepare yourself. I've prepared myself for these moments. Everybody has some ups, everybody has some downs, everybody has some ins and some outs. Amen. But I'm one of the happiest people you're going to ever meet because of what God has done. It's no doing of my own. Amen. It's about what God has done. Amen. To put me in a position to sit here and talk to you and tell you about all the things that he's allowed me to do with these young people. And until I can't do it anymore, I'm going to take them anywhere they want to go.
And you've got a lot more to do. And that's why people, I think it's the sincerity in you.
Yes, sir.
And that's why people are drawn. I've seen times where maybe something was supposed to go one way and it fell through. You didn't get frustrated. You just went, well, it's going to work. Amen. And then God opened up, what they say, the ram in the bush.
Yes, sir.
He had a whole flock of rams in the
Lord.
bushes.
Thank you,
And I think that is a testament of what you're doing, that one, is anointed, amen, that he is happy and agrees with what you're doing.
Yes.
And more importantly, let me change that. We're talking about God, so I don't mean more important than God, but very important is that you're listening
Yes,
to
sir.
him.
Yes.
And not letting it, scriptures say man ought not to think too highly of himself.
Amen.
And so you're taking it and realizing that everything you're doing is because God has chosen you and given you the opportunity to be a part of their life. And I appreciate the work. One last picture I want to show. I think we have time. And this one is another one of the kids at a game. And got you in this one. So that's why I wanted to make sure I got that in. Where was this?
We were up at Michigan State University.
Oh, you went to Ohio State, then you went to Michigan.
Michigan State University. And it was over 105,000 people at the game. And what was so awesome about that is when we got there, a good friend of mine by the name of Harlan Barnett, who is the defensive coordinator now for Florida State. He got a promotion. And so he had already made provisions for us to be there. And so when we got to the gate, the people knew who we were. They said, "You the guys from Taft High School? Come on in." And that was so beautiful. Out of 105,000 people, we were recognized by the people that were taking the tickets. They said, "You the kids from Taft High School? Come on." And I'll never forget that. And the kids were so excited. They were just so excited, and we had a great time, saw a great game. Michigan State won. And we had a long and a prosperous trip back home. It was beautiful.
That's awesome. Listen, man, and then at times you don't. I'm forever singing your praise for the work that you do. And I know that you have something that you want to read.
Yes, sir.
And I want to give you that opportunity to make sure you get that. Even if that is the last thing we do right now, I want to make sure that you get an opportunity. So go ahead, share this with everyone.
And I definitely wanted to share this with the people who are listening, because this is like my theme song for the kids that I work with. And I always tell them this: to achieve your dreams, remember your ABCs. This is something I always wanted them to know. It says avoid negative sources, people, places, and things and habits. Believe in yourself. Consider things from every angle. Don't give up and don't give in. Enjoy life today. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow may never come. Family and friends are hidden treasures. Seek them and enjoy their company. Give more than you plan to. Hang on to your dreams. Just do it. Keep trying no matter how hard it seems. It will get easier. Love yourself first. Most make it happen. And here's a part where I tell the kids, if you don't hear nothing else I read on this paper, please hear this next line. It say, never lie, cheat, or steal. Always attempt to be honest. Never lie, cheat, or steal. Always attempt to be honest. Open your eyes and see things as they really are. Practice makes improve, not perfect. Quitters never win, winners never quit. Read and study. Learn everything that is important in your life. Stop procrastinating. Take control of your destiny. Understand yourself in order to better understand others. Visualize it. Want it more than you want anything. Accelerate your efforts. You are unique in all God's creation. Nothing or nobody can replace you. Zero in on your target. Be about the business of using yourself up. Amen.
Amen. And now what is that called? Now,
it's called To Achieve Your Dreams, Remember Your ABCs.
So listen, to achieve your dreams, everybody, he said, remember your ABCs. Listen, I hope that you got some good information, and we will put up some information on the screen, especially on how to reach out to Deron Hunter as a community outreach advocate, as well as reaching out to him as far as are you the president?
Yes.
I know you're the founder and president of Future Ambassadors, Inc. If you have a young man or a young woman, because he does take young ladies on these trips as well. In fact, down to Moorhead, I think a young lady that went with us to the one trip is now going to be going to Moorhead. Yes. So you can reach out to him, ask questions. He was a top flight athlete in football in the university. So if you have children that are getting ready to go, or you got some questions, you need some guidance on what to do and what not to do, reach out. Listen, again, on behalf of myself, I'm Pastor Jackie Jackson, and our producer, Anita Alexander. We really want to thank you for taking out time. And I want you to remember this: stay faithful and be healthy.